This episode was such a long time in the making. One of our favorite bands, no joke, since day one, we've been trying to get them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bothering the Band with Nils and Paul. Shout out to Amy of the Rural Alberta Advantage. Nils, how are you?
Well, I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
And there's Paul's pretty face. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
My name's Ryan. This is Abby. Abby, how do they sound? Say some things, guys.
It's Nils here from the Rural Alberta Advantage. Coming in loud and clear, hopefully. Is that good?
Can hear you great, Nils. This is Paul. I am supposed to sound like this, uh,
Perfect.
just the way my voice sounds.
Let me ask you this. As musicians, I'm hosting a podcast. We're almost 200 episodes in. Can't stand the sound of my voice. Like it's cringe. And I've heard actors, like my friends who are comedians and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, it's the sound of my voice. Can't do it. How do you guys feel?
Paul, do you want to?
Well, I mean, I'm just the drummer. I barely have to hear myself. We have one song where I hoo and ha on a microphone, and I don't really have to hear that either. So it's yeah, not really a problem for me. But Nils, I don't know. You never complain about it, which is actually really amazing because I do hear that like a lot from other people. But you seem I don't know if you've just like pushed it down or like over the years you've gotten used to it.
It's funny, like hearing my voice in interviews, like my talking voice, even like listening back to it. I'm like, this just sounds weird. And I think, I don't know. Yeah, I think I've just gotten used to it. It's not like I feel like when we're playing songs that I have the most magical voice, so it's got character to it. And I guess I just sort of like I've gotten used to it over the years. So, but yeah, it's like everything always sounds weird when it's like what you hear in your head is not what comes out of the mouth holes.
But you know what's so weird about that is like because you're right. It's not just like it's not just the fact that it sounds different. It's that everybody thinks they sound better in their head than in real life. Like there's not a single person who's like, oh, my actual voice is so much better than this. Like there's some kind of filter
Yeah.
that's like, improving it in your brain somehow.
Well, you've heard so much more of the internal voice than you have of the projected voice. That's what makes it sound so weird.
Yeah, weird, but why is it always worse? Like, why are there people who are like, oh, I sound way better than I thought? Like, why is that never?
I'm gonna go with like over the course of your lifetime, you've gotten used to it, and you're like, this is just my normal, and this just sounds so great. But yeah, hearing it on like a voice machine or something like that, voicemail or something like that, I'm like, wow, this person sounds like Bizarro Nils. So
Oh man, that's so funny. We tapped into something there.
yeah,
But now that we got that out of the way, let me just give a little backstory. So I introduced ourselves, Bothering the Band. We asked our favorite musicians very stupid questions. You guys have been on our list since day one. Not no bullshit, no hyperbole. Um, and for one reason or another, it just wasn't working out. And then I have to say, last summer we saw you guys live in Los Angeles,
yeah.
Oh, nice.
and we are so lucky to have seen you. I saw you in New York like I don't know, 15 years ago, but we're so lucky because literally like the day or two after that, Abby texted me. She's like, "Oh, someone got COVID in the RAA." We're so fucking lucky we got to see them. The show was phenomenal. We're very lucky and selfish, I guess. Uh, who got COVID?
Well, we all did.
We all over the course, it was a series of dominoes that were falling. Um, I think I was the first one to get it. I feel like the next morning I was like, I just don't feel that great. And so I went to like the Walgreens and got a bunch of like painkillers. Paul's like, have you tested? And I was like, no. So tested, and yeah, we were on our way to San Fran and had to cancel that. And that was the last show with like the West Coast run. We were supposed to fly over to Boston. And Paul was fine. He was gonna meet his fiance there, and he got COVID when he landed. He tested positive when he landed.
Yeah, I tested negative before.
Yeah, and then Amy was like, "Look, I'm gonna stick with Nils. We'll figure it out." And then she got sick, and it was just, it's the time. It was the time. But it was a great couple shows that we had that first kind of run.
It was such a cliche band trying to tour through COVID experience. I feel like it was the same story as every single band at that moment that was trying to tour. Like we just watched every band before us go out, play 3 shows or 4 shows, and then that was it. And then, like somehow we thought that wouldn't happen to us, even though none of us had even had it at that point. But anyways,
Well, we're so happy we caught you.
Yeah. Well, did we? I ended up talking to someone after the show. Did we chat after the show?
No, because we are psychopaths, and we were doing a live show as well in LA, and while we were there, you guys were playing, and then also our friends who've been on the pod as well, Delta Spirit, were playing. So we literally, it worked out almost like perfectly. We saw you guys right when you guys finished. After on, we pieced out, hopped in the rental car, and went. I don't even know the neighborhood, and caught Delta Spirit.
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah. So no, we didn't hang out.
That's totally cool. I remember after that show, there was 3 people in the front, a guy, girl, and another guy, and I watched one of them halfway through look at their watch and start freaking out, and I chatted with him after, and I guess he had a Fitbit on, and it was like, I think you're running right now. So they were dancing their asses off.
Oh, that's fun.
So I wasn't sure if it was you guys.
I was gonna say, oh yeah, I saw you in New York, like I said, a million years ago. And I remember leaving the show. I was a little tipsy. I left the show and I was like, man, I forgot to buy a shirt. So I made a shirt. I had a homemade, and I wish I still had it, homemade Rural Alberta Advantage shirt, which was
Man, that's amazing.
yeah.
I would love to see that. If so, you no longer have it.
It might be in some of these store, like some of the older t-shirts get put up, and I don't know if you guys have this. I can't throw away like polos,
Yeah,
button downs. I'm like, see you later. T-shirts. I'm like, I want to hang on to this or make it. I made a t-shirt quilt a few years ago, so I'm like, maybe I'll do another one.
smart.
That's a smart move. I tend to let the t-shirts get kind of threadbare, and then sort of like, okay, with this has to go. But I do have like a Tupperware container of like special show shirts that we have, like where we like played a festival, and I'm like, oh my god, our name is on a festival, on it's the tiny little print, but there's like other cool bands on there. Or we did a show with the Hip a number of years back, and like we're on that t-shirt, so I'm like, well, that's going to get folded up and live in a memento box that's probably just going to stink when I open it up again. So
It's gonna smell like nostalgia.
yeah.
The shirt was just said in some crazy. It wasn't a crazy font. It was a serif, and it just said the name, but it was big. It was like a big, took up the whole shirt, and it was gray.
Feel like we got to bring it back. We're coming back in the winter to LA, and if you either find that shirt or make a new one, we'll put you on our guest list. I feel like that has to be a fair trade.
Well, one of our questions here is, we're both actually in Florida. I'm sweating in a Florida garage right now. We're about to get hit by a hurricane. So I know you're going on tour. Just throw Florida on there. And this leads to my first dumb question. Thoughts on Florida?
But just generally, like, or like the
First
horrible hurricane
thoughts.
that's coming in. Like, I mean, right now it seems like,
First thing that
yeah,
comes to your mind, Paul.
yeah, hurricane. That's the first thing that comes to my mind right now. I hope you guys are okay. It seems like it might be a kind of crazy one.
That's what they all are. And if you've done it as much as we have, you're just like, we have gas, we have waters, we have batteries, we have,
Yeah, you guys are like all prepared for it. Are you guys both in Florida?
Just different parts. Different
Are you on
parts.
that West Coast that's getting hit first?
No, we're both East Coast. I'm South.
Okay.
She's Central. So it'll miss us. We'll get some. It's been raining off and on today, but then again, it rains in the summer every day in Florida. So it's like, who knows? My sister texted me. She was like, "How's the weather?" I was like, "Same."
Same, just
Yeah.
impending.
Schools are open. I assume it's something along the lines of like, my medium snowstorms where you're at, where things are still open and stuff like
Yeah,
that. You're like, oh,
it's just
whatever.
like, yeah, you get used to it, and it's sort of like, it's like the waves. There's gonna be another one after this. It's just sometimes they're a little bit bigger. Um, Florida. We've only played Florida once, I think.
Time to come back.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I'm worried that it's not going to work this time. But was it Tallahassee we played, Paul?
Yeah, at the college.
Yeah, the
Okay.
University of College or something. That was the only time that we've made it there.
Wait, didn't we play New Orleans one time?
That's not in
No,
Florida.
yeah, that's not Florida. That's right. No,
I
Yeah.
was not gonna touch that one.
this is my understanding of geography. But on that tour, we were down there. We didn't go to Florida.
No, no, I'm pretty sure Atlanta,
Because I'm trying to think of when else we were in that general vicinity.
So Florida's big. So Tallahassee, which is where Abby went to college, like last year, she just graduated. That's from where I'm at. That's like, Abby, what, 8 hours, 7, 6?
It's 8 hours from you and 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours from me.
yeah, that makes sense why we have not been down there that much. It's like you gotta make a go of it.
You gotta
Well,
want
Tallahassee's
it.
right up near the top, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Exactly.
And
it's right near the
that's
top.
why we did it in that routing. Like we just kind of came through, but I guess we never did that any other time.
You got to like Abby said, you got to want it, and there's only one way in and one way out.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you can't make a loop of it, and we didn't draw enough people. There was a big draw for the next time to come to Florida. But I do remember we had a great time there.
There was actually wasn't that like our first tour? There was like very few people. I think maybe a dozen who came to see us. Uh, and I remember it because it was like a big wide room, and everybody who was there kind of stood in a line next to each other, like side by side, which was kind of nice. And just watch. It was, anyways. It was a good show.
Like a human
like a
shield.
firing line or something.
Yes, there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what's gonna happen here, guys?
It's actually really nice if you think about it. Like if you have an empty show, people could be kind of all spread out, and it looks like really empty. But if all the 12 people stand side by side, that kind of feels like a full thing for you as a band. So it was very kind.
Yeah, yeah.
That should be a normal thing. Yeah, let's spread that
Yeah.
word. If it's a small show, side shoulder to shoulder,
Yeah,
arm in
shoulder
arm.
to shoulder. It's great.
Keeping the geography, and we like to ask this fun question. What kind of, well, first of all, where are you guys in the general sense of the word? You don't have to give your address or anything like that.
Yeah, Toronto.
Okay. Both of you are, Paul?
Both of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You can tell
Well,
I've been here a while because I say Toronto
yeah.
all together. And so, life's too short to say all of the syllables. So
Well, if you're American, we say it with a D, right? Isn't that the thing?
But
Toronto.
Toronto. We hear a lot of Toronto from
Yeah.
people.
wow, that's psycho.
Yeah. Say,
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
toe. We emphasize the last toe.
Wait, hold on. Before we move off, I used up my Florida thing on the hurricane, but my real answer to that question is Kennedy Space Center. That is like the coolest place in the world. So I just need to put that out there. You guys are very lucky to have that incredible place.
Abby's like 15 minutes from there.
That's amazing.
A little bit further, but yes. And it's one of my favorite places too. And I got to watch a launch the other night. So that
Well,
was
you
fun.
must just have launches happening all the time
All
nearby.
the
Like,
time.
that's
And
so cool.
they do this thing where like you see it and you can, they do them at night, so it's really cool, and the whole sky lights up, and then it like, eventually leaves and you can't see it anymore. And then about a minute after that happens, you get this reverb from when it left the atmosphere. And so the whole house is like for like however long. When it's the smaller things that last, like, I don't know, 20 seconds. But a couple of weeks ago, SpaceX launched their biggest rocket ever, and that reverb lasted well over a minute.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, we don't have that here. We don't
I'm
launch
like
stuff.
I'm like a bedtime by 8:30, 9 o'clock kind of person, and all these launches are at like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm always like, I gotta stay up and see it. And my sister's like, it looks exactly like the one from last night, and I'm like, I know.
It's like New Year's Eve every single night. Like, I gotta stay up for this.
The
Yeah,
other
that would
night,
never get old.
the house started shaking, and I was like, oh, I missed a launch. Okay.
I was gonna say it's like what a weird, like, I don't know, entitled, like, oh, it's just a rocket shooting into space. Happens all the time.
What's the next one?
Whatever. Yeah.
Another Amy's not here, but we should throw out about Florida that she's like a huge baseball fan and Toronto Blue Jays. So she's actually been down to spring training in Dunedin. So I'm pretty sure that if she was here, she'd say shout out about that for sure.
Oh man, that's so great. Good representing. I'm also a big baseball fan. I'm wearing a Expos hat right now.
Nice.
I'm a Yankees fan. We love Canada. We have inadvertently turned into like a Canadian music podcast. Just this year, we've had so many people on the program. It's just like, all right, these are our favorite people. They're saying yes. It's like natural and organic.
Yeah, you had Dan on a little while ago, I think.
Yeah, we had Dan, we had Beto and Sound Clash. We've had a lot of cool people on, and it's just, I don't know, it's just where the cookie crumbles. And I discovered you guys on Pandora, like I said, so many years ago, and
we can't even get Pandora up here.
You were on it.
Is that still a thing? Pandora's not still a
I
thing,
have
is
no
it?
idea.
Yeah, it is a thing in the States. You can't get it up here.
I don't know. It seems like something your mom would listen to now. It's like it's almost like past us, It's like,
Well, maybe like back in the day, it was really cool because you start with the one and then it's sort of like just follow that thread. So
and discovered a lot of stuff. A lot of people who are friends of the pod now, and I believe it was Death Bridge of Death Bridge song.
Yeah.
Which brings me to this. Lethbridge, yeah.
I was like, is it of less of?
You're so close.
Yeah. Everything about our band is complicated, from the pronunciation of band names to nonsensical words and songs. Yeah, it's the Deathbridge and Lethbridge.
Well, this brings up some of our pre-written questions. What color is the Deathbridge and Lethbridge?
Pretty sure it's just a black
black
train bridge. Yeah, black train bridge sort of thing. So
it's wild though.
We stood under it once, I think, when we were on tour, because you guys had to check it out, all these places that we've sort of like referenced in songs. But yeah, it's a big bridge, big ass bridge.
Yeah, we were a band for years before we actually played in Alberta, and so when we finally went, for Amy and I, it was like this like magical tour of our music, going to see all the sites.
Wow, that's funny.
This is what this song was about. That's so cool.
And here's where the Frank slide is.
Yeah, it was great.
We love bridges whenever we travel. It's like graveyards and bridges. And nice. And food is number one. But you mentioned the pronunciation and like hard. I don't know why whenever I say the name of your band, I emphasize rural such like a psycho, because I was telling people all week, again, we love your band.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was listening to Sirius, like The Verge, and you guys came on, Plague Dogs came on, and I was like, they're gonna be rural. I was telling my daughter, it's like, I don't know why. How do you guys say it?
It's a hard word.
I never thought it was a hard word until I watched 30 Rock. And
rural juror.
Yeah, it turned into
one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah. And so we're like, well, that's our lineage now. Yeah, like I know I grew up in Alberta, so hearing the word rural, it doesn't seem like it's such a complicated word that requires a legendary joke in a TV show. But yeah, I think we also like go by the RAA because it's a little bit easier.
Like only slightly.
Only slightly. As I'm saying that, I feel like I was like about to bumble it too.
I think rural is one of those words that if you have some kind of drawl, it comes out easier.
I think it's less of a word. Like Southern people are like rural.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, I think maybe after having said it for a number of years and stuff, I think it's like you do like the syllable smush. That's rural Alberta Advantage. I think maybe that's really what I end up saying. I don't pronunciate it, so
I know. I just got to stop overthinking it.
yeah,
Rural Alberta.
yeah,
You say it so fast. I'm overthinking everything.
Just drop
You
the
know,
second R. Just drop it.
yeah. Just be free. Just let it
Rural.
happen. Let it flow out of you.
I'm gonna work on it.
Okay.
All right, let's get some real stupid questions going. Um, what's your favorite shape of pasta?
Uh, yeah, you want to go first, Paul?
Well, yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, like fusilli, I like that. But like
Good answer.
I love nothing more than macaroni and cheese. So if I'm being truly honest, it's probably just straight up macaroni.
Which one's fusilli? Is it like curly
Yeah,
whirlies? Yeah,
yeah.
I think mostly I ended up going with like a rigatoni or something like that. When I just feel like it sops up some sauce and stuff. It's just I don't know why, it's habit. I feel like if I'm going spaghetti, I gotta go like solid red sauce with meatballs. That's when you like go spaghetti. But yeah, I think I don't know, just habit. You get locked into habits. You buy the same one over and over again. I used to be on a penne kick. That's years ago. I don't know who that guy was that bought
I was
penne.
gonna say, that's the old Nils.
Exactly. It's a completely different guy.
I like the really big tubes. They're like not penny, but like what are they called? Those are really great.
It sounds like a producer question.
Like
Abby, what are those called?
manicotti?
No,
No,
those are
no, no.
shells.
Yeah, like
No, they're not.
they're like a giant penne.
Oh yeah, I know. It's not. It's not that. God, what one is it? If only we had the internet.
As you can see, we're like an award-winning journalism.
You can probably say the right answer, and I wouldn't even know the answer. So it's
It's either rigatoni or pacheri.
maybe it is rigatoni. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe it's just large rigatoni or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But I need to point out that manicotti are not shells. They are tubes. Shells and manicotti are different.
Yeah, no, it's not rigatoni. I just Googled it. Bigger.
Yeah, yeah. They're like longer tubes, right?
Well, then my mom was making manicotti with shells.
There's those shells that are like massive shells, like big conches. What are, do you know what those ones are called?
Those are just shells.
They're just
yeah.
shells. They're just shells.
Oh,
Man,
they have to have an
everything has a
Italian
cooler name than just shells. Okay. We're really going off on a tangent here with these.
This is exactly what we want. Believe it or not, this is the
They're
podcast.
just called jumbo shells.
Jumbo shells. Okay.
Just called jumbo shells.
Call
And
in
mini
if you
ones, you
know.
put into soups and stuff.
And it looks like rigatoni is flat on the end, and the other one is like a diagonal.
Penny is the
Oh,
diagonal.
come on.
Right?
Penne and the pancherry, at least in this photo.
Okay.
Learn something new every day, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We need like a periodic table of pasta types or something. That would be really helpful.
Like a poster, a black light poster.
Yeah, for our university dorm
Yeah.
rooms.
Okay, Rocky or Rambo?
Oh, Rocky for me for sure.
I've barely seen either. I think I've probably seen more of Rocky than any Rambo movie. So I'm gonna go Rocky.
Okay, fair enough.
Rocky just has everything you could possibly want.
Okay, right now, right this instance in your life, would you rather do hot knives or take a muscle relaxer?
Are we are we going to preface it with how old we are?
I think we're all probably close in
Right.
age,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
which would not destroy the evening and the tomorrow.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
guess.
based on reality, it's muscle relaxants.
Yeah, I think these are my muscle relaxant years.
This is your muscle relaxant phase
Yeah,
era.
yeah, exactly.
I
So
know. It's like plantar fasciitis.
You have to say it like Nils says it in the song, which is different than the way you would say it. And like in a conversation, you call it a muscle relaxant, like muscles where you could, but in the song, it's muscle relaxant. It's really important. So
I remember there's this really great really great story that I heard when Foo Fighters were on SNL. Christopher Walken was the host, and yeah, you know, as it is when the musical guest comes on, the host sort of has to introduce them, and so beforehand, I think Christopher Walken goes to Dave Grohl, and he's like, I just want to make sure I get it right. Where's the emphasis on Foo Fighters? And Dave Grohl, knowing exactly how he says it, it's like it's on fighter, it's on fighter. So then when he goes to introduce them, he introduces them as Foo Fighters, which was like the most amazing.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
It's all about the delivery.
All right. How would Christopher Walken say the name of your band? I'm not even gonna do it.
Oh man, that would be a real mouthful. Yeah, where is the emphasis on it, Paul?
oh my God.
Is it all on the ends of all the words?
It's all in that second R. That's where everything is supposed to
Rural,
go.
rural Alberta. No, I don't even know how to. Man,
The
it's
Rural Alberta, like that.
Oh, that's
yeah. I think
good.
that's
Because
yeah. It's sort of like it's like a weird sort of like, oh, I've been listening to Black Mask, so this is how I talk now.
Advantage, it's like can't do it.
Yeah, it's like that it's the reverb that you were talking about with the with the spacecraft. Right? It comes through like way after the actual emphasis of the words should be. Advantage.
Oh, we just made it harder.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, do you have any petrified wood pieces or art in your home? See where we're going here? See the
Yeah, I think I'm feeling the thread line that you're following here.
again, real clever, real hard-hitting journalism.
I can say I don't, but I'm also no longer a 10-year-old boy living in Alberta because I definitely had some when I was a kid. So it's actually funny. I was a couple of weeks ago. My family had a get together in Alberta, like a family reunion, and some of the family I hadn't seen in forever. And it's down close to where a cabin is that we have. My dad's family grew up on a farm, and there's a bunch of land, and it's called the Coolies, but it's kind of like the transition point between like prairies and like the badlands. So there's a lot of like valleys and stuff like that. They're like full of like little fossils here and there and petrified wood. And I remember being a kid and like walking around with my dad, and he's like, oh, that's petrified wood. And like I definitely took it home and stuff. And I know that my nieces and nephews, when we were down there, they definitely would have like picked up some of that and been like, oh wow, this is cool. It's petrified wood. I'm no longer a kid anymore, so yeah, but I definitely for a time did. So
It's cool rock. What are you gonna do? I don't have any, but it is cool. I agree with the fact that it's cool when you see it.
I gotta disagree with the fact that as an adult, as a 40, almost 41-year-old man myself, I would pick it up and keep it. I have a daughter, so I'd bring it to her.
that's the thing.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's the thing. There's that different level there. So and like I already did that at one point in my life. We got to move forward.
it might be a boy thing. I don't think. Sorry to interrupt, Paul. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I mean, well, actually, my niece definitely has a rock collection, so I don't think it's like a boy girl thing. I think this is a universal thing. But I guess I think most kids at some point develop some kind of rock collection. I bet most adults don't keep that rock collection. So I think Nils is right on this one. You probably don't still have your rock collection, even if it had petrified wood in it.
It's a point in your life that you have, or
You become a geologist.
yeah, you become a geologist, and then you have it in a shadow box.
Yeah.
I at this reunion, my youngest niece, I'm not sure how old, that's probably like 3 or 4 or something. There's just like gravel everywhere, and she gave me this rock. She's like, "This is a very beautiful rock," and she gave it to me. And I looked at it, I'm like, "You're right, that is a very beautiful rock," and I kept it, and I still have it on the bedstand. So I have one rock in the house.
Wow! Forget everything I said. It's wrong. Adults have a love of rocks, just like children.
There is the association of she found beauty in something and she bestowed it on me, and the last thing I was going to be like, cool.
Maybe the problem is because you think about it, like I've done it. I've given like cool rocks to kids. Maybe the whole problem is that not enough people are giving rocks as presents to adults. That's why we don't have collections. Like that might just be the whole thing.
My going on the rock tangent here.
Like it was longer than the pasta tangent. I love it.
This is a rock podcast, right?
Well, when we wanted to talk about music and rock, we were thinking more of the rock and roll, less of the actual Stones. But I remember my
but
brother,
not those Stones.
My brother got my my nephew a rock tumbler for Christmas like 2 years ago or something, and my nephew was like super jazzed about it. He's like, "Oh man, this is gonna be so great. We're gonna like tumble some rocks. You know, look great." And my brother's like, "Yeah, it's gonna take a while." He's like, I got time. I got patience." He's like, "It takes about a month." He's like, "Are you joking?" To tumble rocks. That is a large fraction of my life. But yeah, he was blown away. He was like, "Yeah, a couple hours. Let me get some like cool rocks." He's like, no, you have to do this for like a month and a half. He's like, "Oh my God."
One of my favorite people on TikTok is an adult woman who just tumbles rocks, and she's on my page all the time. She's like, "I was walking in the woods and I found this," and then she speeds it up, but
yeah,
she shows her process, and it's oddly satisfying to watch it at that speed.
It's in a way, it kind of feels like slow TV, like when you watch like just 8 hours of birds or like just a train going. There's something like hypnotic. I was thinking it'd be like, it's almost like a white noise generator.
Yeah. Well, you guys are leaving out crystals. Like people love crystals.
Yeah, true.
Wow, now we're really getting to a huge segment here.
You're like, they're different.
Those have special powers.
During COVID, there was like a tiki bar down the street from where like my wife and I live. Really cool place. And like most places, it didn't make it because of COVID. And it was replaced by a place that sells special stones and crystals and all that sort of like stuff. And I was like, how is this place that is selling crystals and special rocks making way more of a profit and like can stay in this location, whereas like a cool looking tiki bar in the East End of Toronto can't make it? I don't know. It must be a front. It's got to be a front, right? Or is like I guess the markup on nonsensical crystals is quite large.
I was gonna say they're very expensive.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
when you buy them, but like this person probably just picked something off the ground and is now selling it to
This
you.
is the most beautiful rock. Yes, I know, and it also heals you.
Exactly. Now it costs $100.
We're isolating some of our we're gonna get to it like they're real.
Oh man,
they're so real. Okay, let's move on. Do you have a junk drawer?
100%. Yeah, I definitely do. I have boxes of junk drawers. I feel like I feel like the way my wife would describe it is I keep the place clean, but it's like I'm a very smart squirrel. I just find places to hide everything. And it's like, how is this box so heavy? It's like, well, this is all of the newspapers I decided to keep in my life, or something ridiculous like that. I remember I was moving once, and I had a box that was like full of like quarterly magazines like Laugham's or something like that. They must have been like, a friend was carrying this normal sized box and he thought it was full of dark matter. It was just like, I have ways of hiding things.
Magazines and books are so heavy.
I know. Yeah, quarterlies and stuff. Yeah, this is like, in like Lapham's is a good example of that. They're thick, heavy stock.
What are
So-
Laphams? I don't know what this is.
Oh man.
He was hoping you'd ask
Look
that
at this
question.
box.
This is one of them. Lapham. It's a quarterly.
Okay. I think
Yeah, you've
I
probably
know.
seen them at like the bookstores. They've got a lot of, like it's probably like there's a lot of poems and essays and things like that. A lot of them are what's it like, public domain sort of thing, but they're all based on like themes. This one's about night. I found sometimes if I'm like just working on lyrics and stuff and be like, just to like open them up and just sort of like have an idea or something, if I've like gotten to a creative lull, it kind of helps to rejuvenate things. More often I'm in the lull than than it works out, but it's like they're really awesome for that sort of stuff. Yeah.
That was like a real deal songwriter tip. That was good, Nils.
I should know what that is, being a poet. And fun fact, one of my first books, there's a Rural Alberta Advantage song in the book.
Is that the well, wait, now I'm thinking of something else. Oh, there was a book that someone wrote. They quoted one of our songs. Is that the one you're talking about, or no?
I think it just name a song. I think it's Two Lovers.
Oh,
Or actually, yeah.
that's cool. I did not know about that.
I'll try to find a copy and I'll send you guys them.
Yeah, please. We'll sue them for copyright infringement. Or
It's me, but
Oh,
it's yours.
it's me. Like, it's my book.
Okay, we're not going to sue you.
It's a book of
fine.
poetry, and it just names some songs. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any
So it's
money.
not the lyrics;
so,
it's just the name of the song.
yeah, with credit and stuff like that.
Oh my God, I was just joking. But
You're
that's
a lawyer too, man. God,
I know. I was really serious about it. So, what is the poem that has our song name in it? Like, it has a bunch of song names in it.
Well, as you can tell, we are music geeks. I am a writer. My first love is poetry, and I like to break a lot of rules, and I use things that I love. And I feel like, a 25-year-old Ryan was just feeling it.
Love that. What's that song that's awesome? Is it like Built to Spill or something? And like every line is,
yeah. It's not. Is it? Keep it like a secret.
yeah, I think so. It's so good.
Gotta look it up.
Oh man. Yeah. It was the album that wasn't on Spotify for us for the longest time. It came out in like 99. Man, why am I? It's funny because people are gonna like look. Yeah, it's off. Keep it like a secret.
And like the lyrics are like every line is just this like iconic line / song.
Wait, you said Spotify for us. What does that mean?
Oh,
Do you want to Paul as the music lawyer?
go ahead, Nils. Let me tell you about rights. No, yeah, they didn't have clearances and rights and licenses to put a bunch of music on Spotify Canada for a long time. Like in the first days, and still today, they had to make deals with all of the rights holders to get music on Spotify, and a lot of that has become simplified, but it was kind of piecemeal and ad hoc, kind of like how Netflix still today, different country, different stuff, right? And I think music has sorted that issue out a lot better than TV and movies has.
You never think of it. We're just arrogant Americans. We're like, we get everything.
You do get everything.
We have the best rocks.
And crystals, especially crystals.
Let's go back.
And
Wait.
rocket launches.
And rockets, rocks, Nils is looking something up.
Yeah. I know which song you're talking about, Paul. Does it carry the 0? No.
We're gonna have to just pause the podcast for a while we figure this out.
No editing. We're just gonna leave it in.
Dead air. No, I meant in terms of just,
I'm
that's
gonna
good.
just keep talking. So I don't forget, I'm gonna say it out loud. One, Nils said something about another song that was put in a book, or lyrics of yours put in another book. Something I said spurned something else.
Yeah. I got a copy here. Let me.
How wild it would be if it was like my book. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. This is the book here. 40 Below. It's an anthology of poems and stuff. It's Alberta's Winter Anthology. But the guy that put it together asked to have coldest days in the start of it. Oh no, the air. Yeah. A couple lyrics from the air. So that's what I initially thought you were talking about. That was in my junk drawer as well. I have everything you possibly need on hot standby. I'm like, oh, you want to laugh? I'm right behind me. You want that book I was talking about? On the shelf over here. I don't even gotta leave the room.
You have those closer to you than I have my own personal books.
Yeah.
Let's go back to junk drawer. Paul, do you have a catch-all drawer in your kitchen or somewhere that you put?
I'm glad you called it, because I was going to say no, because I don't like the name junk drawer, because it's insulting to the things that are in the drawer that you would call a junk drawer. Because
My bad. I'm so sorry.
the reason that the drawer exists is because I didn't want to throw any of those things out, right? And that makes it, to me, not junk. Like, because I do throw lots of things out, but then there's, sometimes things that can't be neatly stacked or organized or put into the like shelves or closets or cabinets that you have for certain kinds of things, right? They just don't work that way. And so they have to go into a drawer. And so, yeah, I have a drawer like that. And yeah, it's precious. You know what goes in it the most is like pens that I want to keep.
Yes.
Because like, for me, I like collecting pens if they're somewhat unique from like the various places that we usually like where we stay, like hotel pens.
Yeah.
And then, like your t-shirts, I can't get rid of them. Even if they've stopped writing or if yeah. So they have to go somewhere, and they go into my special keepsake pen drawer more often than not.
That's great. Yes, exactly what I'm talking about. Pens, loose paper clips, rubber bands, stuff that you're like, I might need to use this. Chip clips.
Yeah. Change. Like foreign currencies, especially, where like I might go back to Jamaica, and then what am I gonna do? Like,
how am I gonna tip one person once?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be glad I have this when I end up back there and remember I had it in the drawer.
What's crazy is you're gonna go back there and forget it.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. There's no way.
And then you'll get more and just add it, like the third time's a charm.
Or you'll go to the country and they'll be like, we haven't used that currency in like 40 years.
I'm pretty sure I've got like in a junk drawer like an Oyster card, which is like the card for the London Tunnel and stuff like that. It's like their Metro card. I'm positive that I won't need it, or if I don't bring it, I will need it or something like that because we got some shows in Europe in the fall. But like, yeah, things like that, being like, well, you never know, and this might come in handy.
Well, it has like straight up value. Like that's why like throwing away money feels really crazy, right? Like you come back and you have money that you're just not going to use. It's like only a few coins, but then throwing it in the garbage also kind of just feels nuts.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more.
I found the song. The song is called "You Were Right."
That's it.
And like, yeah, because there's like all that glitters isn't gold, all we are is dust in the wind. He quotes like a lot of those like famous all we are all just bricks in the wall. It's a great album. I remember when it came out, like that one. And I feel like in my mind it occupies the same space as Soft Bulletin, because they both came out in like 99.
Oh, nice. Good pull.
Yeah,
I got a Flaming Lips thing right up here.
Oh, I see it.
Oh. Not Soft Bulletin, but still, we're gonna make the connection here.
Yeah, exactly.
Rocks, crystals. It is what it is.
It is.
So, what do you call the junk drawer? Now that we're gonna stay on this for too long, or me, I'm gonna.
I mean, it's my drawer. Like that's it. It's just I don't know.
The main drawer.
I mean, I guess for context, like my wife is a very neat person. I'm a very messy person. And I think I've done my best to contain my messiness as much as possible to the drawer and frequently around the drawer, like the table and things like that. So this is like like Nils was talking about how he, it manages to stuff things into everywhere, which is true actually. Like if you see Nils pack a van, it's like Tetris. So I believe that he's made his house the
That's a
same way.
skill. That's a skill, though.
Yeah, it's incredible. That should be a show or like that's like a TV show or
Game show. Pack this van with all this
yeah,
musical equipment.
yeah. Like
Pack
everyone like
freak.
pack for face off against Nils and see who can pack better. But for me, it's this drawer and things just get stuffed in it. But yeah, I'm not calling it a junk drawer.
Fair enough. Abby, you just moved. Do you have a junk drawer yet? Have you been throwing tacks and stuff in a drawer?
Not yet. I have a reusable grocery bag full of all of that sort of stuff.
Full of tacks.
Well, maybe not tax, but all the other crap.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a canvas bag, like a tote.
It's a tote. It's not canvas. It's that loud, cheapy material. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's like
Vinyl, some kind of crappy
tarpy?
vinyl
Yeah.
tarp type
A
stuff.
bag though, that's amazing.
Well, just because I
That's chaos.
haven't unpacked yet, and so they're
One
all
day,
junk drawers at the moment.
one day, bag, you will live in a drawer of drawers. I will build you from IKEA.
And the truth is, I probably won't empty it. I will probably just like put the bag in the drawer and walk away.
I love that. That bag will turn into like 5 years.
But you have to have it ready in case of a fire. You need to be able to like that's your bug out junk bag.
Need those reading glasses. Okay. This is a personal question, and I need some advice. Are you hanging polo shirts or folding polo shirts?
That would also imply that I have a polo shirt.
Yeah, I mean,
Does this hypothetical world hinge on me owning polo shirts?
not in reality. No.
I think I hang everything. I hang everything.
Everything?
Maybe not pants.
But like that t-shirt you're wearing right now, you'd hang it?
Yeah, I hung it.
But doesn't that require like endless closet space? That seems like an insane thing to do. They're hanging like everything.
So glad he's taking this because
I guess I don't have that many like shirts that I have, and like I need endless closet space.
I mean, I see you wear enough different things that to me it seems improbable that you hang every single one of those things that you wear. Like that's crazy. I don't know. That's crazy.
he's the biggest closet ever.
Yeah. Yeah, and Paul's seen my house. He's like, I know there's not that many closets in there.
There's a normal amount of closets.
Yeah, there's no no, I pretty much hang everything. I also I don't toss my things in the dryer either. I hang them straight out of the wash. That's why I don't have to like worry about.
What about in the winter?
Oh, they dry. I don't hang them outside.
Oh, okay. That's what I imagine.
In Canada, it's actually great because it's so dry in the winter
Yeah.
that things dry inside super fast.
Yeah, it's wet in Florida inside.
Oh yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That would be
Mold everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. I can understand your confusion because for a second I'm like, am I outing myself as a psychopath?
I feel like you turn the camera around. It's like that same white t-shirt hung up, thousands of them.
Yeah. No, I for the most part, I mostly hang things. It's pants, socks, underwears, that stuff goes into a drawer.
Okay. Pants. Wow. Okay. Follow-up question. What about with certain shirts, polo shirts, if it hangs, again, this might be a Florida swampy mess, but it gets the little like indention here. So like cardigans too.
That's on your hanger. Like what kind of
That's a
hanger are you
crappy
using?
hanger. Yeah.
No, these are
No, those
are
are
the
crappy
top of the
hangers.
line Amazon hangers.
No.
Wire. You're using wire.
Or crappy
No,
thin
God, no. What am I?
plastic.
Yeah.
So okay, so
No, I mean
Here's
they're
the
the
thing.
white plastic ones.
Yeah, those are terrible hangers.
I'm sorry, I'm not a Rockefeller, can afford like ivory hangers.
Okay, I don't know how. I don't know these shoulder indents. I know they exist. I don't know how my shirts aren't like they're impervious to these sort of like shoulder bumps. But my wife's clothes always get that, to the point where she's like, "You got to hang them on these hangers." I'm like, "Okay," but all of my t-shirts just go onto just the crappy old wire hangers. Like,
This feels like it's like a Narnia closet or something. Like it doesn't make any sense because there's because you're for you to be hanging everything, you can't have big thick hangers. They have to be like normal, like
Thank
small
you.
ones, right?
yeah, they're
So
thin wire hangers. Yeah.
yeah, so exactly because if you're hanging literally everything, that's the only way it could be possible. So you would expect then you would get those little indent things. It doesn't make sense.
Paul's the new host of this podcast. I quit. You're taking over. Thank you for saying that. I think that Nils has a mold made of his chest and torso, and that's the hangers, each one. So they are thick too. So how do you fit that?
Well, yeah. I'm gonna say no to either of those things. That's not the case. What's incredibly, I'm sure everyone is going to be incredibly bored by this podcast by the time we're done with it. But
I'm
this is
having a blast.
this is very much like us hanging out in the van. These sorts of like ridiculous conversations and debates that we have. This is very much tour. This feels like I haven't felt so close to tour as I have talking to you guys right now in a long time. This is this is very much like hitting the road.
I'm trying to figure out if you're saying that as a positive thing.
I know.
I was taking it as a positive thing.
It's a very much a positive thing because like we've been doing this for such a long time. And obviously we probably would have packed it in a long time ago if we weren't enjoying ourselves on the road and hanging out with each other. And that's all I have to say is like, yeah, this is very much like this is fun. This is the fun part of like being in a band and caring about each other and having fun joking around. Because we're like, you've seen us play, and there's like I don't know, like an honesty and an emotion to our music, and it's very much what you see on stage is who we are, and there's not a lot of like putting on a mask or something. So yeah, this is very much a positive. I enjoy this sort of stuff. It's like joking with friends. So.
Well, thank you, because that's exactly what we're going for. We we have our rules, like our internal rules. We're like, we don't care about your hopes and dreams. We'd rather know if you're hanging polo shirts. Yeah, a couple more silly questions. We're gonna keep it going. Have you ever read or seen the film The Plague Dogs?
One of my hopes and dreams, but I haven't.
No.
I haven't watched the movie, but I did read the book.
You read the book?
Yeah, I heard about it. Like everyone of probably our age who was a kid in the 80s was mentally and emotionally scarred by watching Watership Down.
Same guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like when I first moved to Toronto as an adult, I'm like, I want to read that book again. I read that. He had another book. I bought like a box set. It was that and another one, Shardik, which saying it out loud is a crazy name. But it was later on that I had found out about Plague Dogs. And I feel like I'm not sure what it was that I kept when we were working on the initial sort of parts of the song. It kind of like this thing about dogs kind of came up, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna start reading this book. And so I did actually read the book. I started it kind of like right before pandemic started, and I wouldn't say that the song isn't super inspired by the book, but in my mind, the writing of it and the reading of it and all of the headspace I was in the world at that time, it all just kind of occupies the same sort of headspace for me, that they're like, it all becomes one, and just sort of like the feelings within the book, and these dogs that are being scapegoated and having they've escaped from a place, a scientific research lab, and everyone's sort of like, they have the plague and we need to like capture them and stuff. And it's yeah, it's an interesting book. I also heard that the ending of the book, not to spoil it, but it's like it kind of takes the an easy way out, because I think he wrote a far more dour end to it. And then people are like, oh, let's just change it. So there's what's the thing, Dos Machina, where it's sort of like a divine, it's yeah, sort of like, and they were
Everything,
fine.
yeah, and everything works
worked
out.
And I have a feeling the movie goes with the original ending, where it's a little bit more dark. But anyway, not having watched the movie but read the book, that's the long and the short of it for me.
How close is the copy to you right now? Like, where is it?
That one is upstairs in the library. It's that's we have a library. That's where I also hang shirts.
In a billiards room and like all this.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you agree on the album art?
I mean, Nils basically says this is the album art, and Amy and I feel relieved that we didn't have to figure it out.
Do you like that he decides?
Yeah, Nils has always been like, I think the designer of things, of aesthetic things in the band, I would say. And like almost every single thing that we have put out, like visually, has, I think, either gone through Nils or come from his brain in the first place.
It's very cool. It's very unique.
That being said, I do think a lot of it, it's nice to have like Paul and Amy being like, no, this is not good, or like let's let's think about this a bit more. And it's not so much that I designed it. Sometimes it's a lot of just sort of like finding the right visual that matches the aesthetic, because I feel like with the first record we finished it and we're like, all right, now what? We don't know how, like, what artwork is going to be on there. And I quite serendipitously was scrolling around, I think it was like Gawker back in the day, where they would just had like artists had pictures on there, and this one piece of art popped up. I'm like, whoa, what the hell is this? And it was the cover, but I was like, this is so perfect for what we're doing, and reached out to the artist. He's like, yeah, sure. And he like took a picture of it and was like cool with us using it. I think for the second record, there was something I wanted to use, but it didn't work out. So that was like a mad scramble. And I think Amy actually found the cover for Departing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With Mended, we had a person doing artwork for that, but it was after we finished the record, and we're like, what are we going to call it? And I had come across the Japanese art kintsugi, which like other other people of that exact same year came across probably the same Reddit post, for all I know. But so an artist came up with that. For the Wild, I was at the ROM and came across an artist there, Arthur Hemming.
That's the Royal Ontario Museum for non-Torontonians.
Sorry. Yeah, and it was a Canadian artist, like 1800s or something like that. All of his artwork was like, I think he was partially colorblind, so it was all very monochromatic, but really amazing frontier stuff. And then, funny enough, with this new record, with The Rise and the Fall, that's Dara kind of found that image, because a photographer that we worked with a bunch, taking pictures at shows and stuff, and done a bunch of like live photography for us, and just like kind of promo things like band shots. He was doing some overhead drone shots. And so Dara's like, oh yeah, have you guys seen what he's doing? And she sent a bunch of pictures over. And as soon as I saw the one of the like overhead cabin there, it just was like, wow, that just feels like the artwork right there. So even before we were like had any of like the wheels were really moving, that just felt like, okay, this is like the first piece of the, dream journal or inspiration board that kind of came together. So yeah, so it's always I feel like it's always a mix of kind of divine intervention in a way, and wrangling things together, and knowing when to pull the things together. So
Well said. The rise, it's one of those things where you look at and you don't know what it is at first. And then you look closer and it becomes even cooler.
You mean the cover art?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that photo is like,
I'm also looking at it like on a computer mostly. It's a key art. I don't have like the vinyl, so it takes a second, which is cool. I don't know. It's almost rewarding to nerds like me.
yeah, well, there was I think that was something that was really interesting about like these images that Leroy was taking, where it's like it's obvious kind of what it is, but you see it from sort of a different perspective, and it takes on a different sort of like beauty from this different angle that you wouldn't normally see it from. And I think it's sort of like that kind of ties to a lot of the songs in a way, and just sort of like taking a different perspective on things and whatnot. So
Man, well, I have to ask. You mentioned the top of the episode, being creatures of habit.
mm-hmm.
Do you have specific songs, not your own, but songs you like that you always come back to in certain parts of your life? And I will give you an example. I have like a set of songs when I travel I listen to, and my airport songs are All Right, Selfish Dreams, and Wild Grin. For something, everyone listening, I'm telling you, pop on those songs right when you get through security and you're walking to your gate. You feel like you can conquer the world. And I've been doing this since the album came out. It started organically, just popped it on random. And now it's like a must when I get through security and I put all my shit back on. That's what I listen to. And
Oh man,
yeah, no BS.
That's really sweet. Like it, yeah, I guess music underscores different parts of our lives, and the fact that there's so much music out there, and the fact that it's sort of taking up a small part of your life and underscoring you know a regular event in your life. It feels great that it feels like we've done something.
Yeah. Do you have any of those songs? Is there anything that brings you?
No, not.
You do have a soundtrack? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, the only thing I can think of that, so Gord Downie put out the last record that he recorded, Always Mine, and he released two versions of it like simultaneously. One was like the produced version, and then one was this sort of like acoustic version. Um, and so it's not quite the same, but I really like sitting down with the acoustic version and just playing along to it and pretending like I got to like be the drummer on that record, and like, thinking of different things that I would do on the different songs. So that's the thing. Like whenever I sit down and play and it's not to like work on something for us, it's almost always like since that record came out doing something related to that. And like there's a few songs where I'm like, this would be so cool. Yeah, anyways, that's the closest I can come to that.
That's exactly what we're talking about. And another thing you could say is like a road trip songs, like people put on, like 90s jams and stuff like that. That's like the less poetic version of what we're talking about. But yeah, Gord Downie, acoustic one. We had Kevin Hearn on, and he worked with him on that record. So
nice.
That one,
yeah, amazing.
Well. Yeah, man, this has been so much fun. Okay, now to the nitty gritty. Do you follow us on Instagram? Who runs the Instagram?
We're off the hook on this.
Yeah,
which is it Dara? Rural Alberta is yours. Everyone go follow right now. Not that you need it. You're doing great. You don't need our shit.
Wait, I can though. I can log into it. Hang on. I can answer the question and I can fix it right now.
This is also our segue to sneak in. Everyone follow Bothering the Band, like, subscribe, all that crap.
I don't know how the Instagram works. Oh no, I can't. Sorry, I take it back.
Your personal accounts,
let let me see if I can do it. We're definitely like Dara owns a lot of it, but Amy is far more media savvy or social media savvy than Paul or I. We're kind of, I don't know, a little bit Luddites.
Yeah, but I just heard about this thing called X, and it sounds really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Did you X that?
Oh man, we were just talking about the past tense of posting on X. You're like, because tweeted has so cute and like branded and it's they yeah.
Yeah, like the brand recognition that he decided to wipe out just seems ridiculous. Like all of these terms that are in the cultural lexicon, like those don't just like happen overnight, and they're very like valuable. And it's just sort of like, yeah, no, we don't need that. I just want everything to be unified in my X banner or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah. We don't like it.
Yeah, said like a guy who's never tweeted.
We're right there with you. We don't like it. But that seems like a rule, one of those rules we're not going to touch. Anything like weirdly sensitive topical shit like that.
Yeah.
Okay, we end the episode, every episode, with a song from our guest. What song of yours do you want us to end? We know you have some new music coming out.
Paul, you wanna what are you excited? Okay, so yeah, we gotta.
I was gonna say like a deep cut or something, but
Ooh, well, it's whatever you want, mind you. As long as it's yours. And then we're gonna talk about this. After this question, we'll talk about something else.
But then we should pick something that's like good, because maybe someone who's made it all the way to the end of this podcast has never heard music before, and they should be rewarded with something that doesn't suck. So it can't just be like the deepest deep cut artwork song.
Oh, yeah, it's you lined yourself up for this. Take her home, buddy.
Oh man. I think we should play On the Rocks. I like that song.
Oh, I love that song. That's a banger, as the children say.
We haven't played that in a long time either. So just like playing it live. It's something that, we kind of stopped playing, on the last record. Because we're now 5 albums in, and there's like we can't play every single goddamn song. But
that makes it fun though, right? You get
oh yeah, no, totally.
Set lists. And...
It's funny. It's funny that you brought up All Right, because I feel like for the longest time we didn't play that much either, and then I feel like we started playing it every now and then, and it was getting like a really surprising response, because it's just like we always think that people want to hear like the ruckusy stuff and and like the high energy exciting, but there's certain ones where it's like no, I want to feel the feels in here, and I feel like it's sometimes you forget that. And we've been playing it more and more and been surprised how people have been embracing it. So
but you don't get to hear that right now because I already showed you. Okay, maybe we should. Now that feels like the song we should play.
Well, we see it as, and I'm curious your thoughts here. Music is like a time machine to us. So like literally On the Rocks takes me right back when that album came out. I was in Phoenix. I was working in Phoenix for like 2 weeks, and I was just driving around this rental car, just listening to that album. So it's just like however you want to say it. It's like, okay, that song brings me back to Phoenix of that year. So weird. But then like Lethbridge is New York, being young, being, trying to be a poet and shit like that. Do you guys have songs like that? Time travel songs?
I think everybody does in a way. Like there's definitely music that takes you back to places and times. For better or for worse. Some of it's like embarrassing, some of it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
For sure.
Even songs you didn't like let's say like really, lame pop songs now will just take me back. Like I heard Mariah Carey today, and I was like, all right, I'm loving this. Young Ryan was not, but now I'm loving it.
Right.
I feel like it's funny. I feel like always like for me it's these edge seasons where albums come out in either like the spring or the fall, where it just feels like everything's in transition, and it's sort of like you're starting school and the fall's starting. Albums come out and they kind of, whether or not they come out at that point or it's like it comes into your life magically and it kind of like underscores a special time in your life. I feel like um there's a Hayden record, Skyscraper National Park, that came out in like, is it 2001 or something, or was it 2000? I forget now. But yeah, it sort of like, there's something about, I just remember being in like the last throes of like my university degree and listening to that record, and it's fall and everything's just sort of changing, and yeah, it's these moments that just sort of like hit you, that you can't replicate that. There's this sort of like the whole world just comes together and creates something special, and those are the the musical moments that kind of define you, because they create something far bigger than any band could ever have hoped. It's just it kind of leaves a fingerprint on your heart in a way, and you can't shake that. So I feel like, yeah, that's like, it's an album that I think of that, it's a soundtrack that's special for me.
Said that way better than I said it. I was like, do you guys ever go back in time inside? Paul, anything come to mind besides the hip or anything like that? You previous mentioned,
Yeah, no, of course. Like, the hip takes me back to high school. Like, yeah, I think about like bands that were even like kind of one album kind of bands for me. Like, remember that band Hum?
Oh, love Hum. Yeah. That Star song is.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's that to me is like, right, like, university. I would just be like listening to that over and over and over, and like trying to play along to it. And like, so yeah, there's a million songs and bands, things I don't listen to anymore, things I do still listen to that like take me to different places. Um, yeah, I mean, Jimi Hendrix, like that takes me back to like a lot of them are like weirdly musical, like that they take me to times when I was trying to play drums. Like that's kind of the thing that really sticks with me. So like song like Fire by Jimi Hendrix is like, that was like a mission for me to like play along to when I was first learning how to play drums.
Well, that's your story. And that's why I love using, music, pop culture in my writing, is because it tells a story. We all have those things, whatever's important to you, whether it's, music or, like I said, pop culture, that tells your story.
It's funny, when Paul, when you were talking about that, I remember when like OK Computer came out, and I was another sort of like transition moment in your life. Like I was finishing high school and like about to like kind of go off onto university, and I had the CD, but cars at the time didn't have CD players, so I dubbed it onto like one of those Bass 45s, and just like copied it in, and just like hanging out, spending some with my friends, staying up late, just driving around in a crappy neon, and getting to the end of the tape and just rewinding it because I'm like, this is so good, and then rewind it back to the beginning again, listen to the whole thing, and I think it was the end of the summer that I was like, oh, I'm just gonna let it ride, see what's on the other side. This has been great. We get to the other side, and that's when I realized there was like two more songs on the record that I'd never heard before that were part of the record. Because I feel like that, like either the third last song in there, I'm like, this just feels like a great album closer right now. And there was more after that. So yeah, but that it definitely like, it's in my mind scores these up in northern Alberta, because I was living up in Fort McMurray at the time. The sun sets way later because you're close to the Arctic Circle, or at least close enough that sometimes like the sun starts to go down at like closer to midnight, and then it just dips down a bit, and when it's like in summer. But yeah, so I have these memories of it being like just hanging out with friends, it getting dusky and dim, and then it starts to get light again, and just having fun. So yeah, but it's like, yeah, those are those things that you can't plan for those. They just feel special.
Man, this has been a real fun episode. This is bucket list stuff for us. Okay. What is next for the Rural Alberta Advantage? We know there's big news on the horizon. We are timing the release of this with the news. So lay it on us.
I guess I kind of teased a little bit of it before, but yeah, we got a new record coming out. So you mentioned the cover for The Rise. So we put that out last year in the fall. So then it's sort of like a second companion piece to that we're packaging as a actual vinyl. It's called The Rise and the Fall. And yeah, Plague Dogs is on the part of that new batch, but we've got like 6 more songs or something coming out. So yeah, we're just excited to have something to share with people, something tangible to hold on to, not like pressing a button and listen to the ones and zeros and stuff. I actually gave a listen to the test pressing just like this last weekend. So the vinyl's being made right now. Speaking of it sounding weird when you listen to your voice, I can say yes. In the back of my head, I'm like, well, this sounds strange. Also, because I was listening on a system I'd never really listened to before. So I'm like, oh, everything sounds different right now. But yeah, so we got an album coming out. I think it's beginning of October, Paul, the 6th. Is that right?
Oh my God, I don't know. I think so.
Well, we have it written down as the 6th, so that connects.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we're excited for it. We this new batch of songs, also working with Gavin Gardner, who we worked with for the first batch for the most part. Yeah, and it's we're excited to be sharing it with people. So,
and then we'll tour. We'll do both the band things. We'll put out a record and then we'll tour that record. We're going to
Florida.
That's the one place we're not gonna go. Yeah.
We're gonna play at the Kennedy Space Center.
Oh, that'd be badass.
That would be awesome. Yeah, we're starting Europe, then we're going around North America in the winter, because we love to drive in the winter in our van. So yeah, we'll do that in February, March. We'll put out some dates soon. Yeah, and then next year, keep it going.
Yeah.
It doesn't snow in Florida. It's hot as shit all the time.
You guys have a hurricane happening like right now.
Come on, man.
Weather can't be yourself.
Just go to Orlando, and that's like in between her and I. We'll meet there, and coffee, tea, whatever you want on us.
Deal.
And I'll try to find that shirt, and I'll send you some books.
Yeah, all those things.
Guys, is there anything else you want to shout out? Shout out to Amy, and I have to say thank you to Brendan for making this happen. Like I said, no bullshit. This is years in the making. We've absolutely love your band and your music, and it has traveled with us throughout our lives. So, yeah. Anything else you want to tell the peeps?
We're just excited to be playing shows again. And anyone that comes into the show, we're excited to be playing for you. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Sometimes the mouth just goes on autopilot, and I'm like, the mouth will figure something out soon enough.
Let's go back to rocks.
Just come see us. We'll have a collection of rocks at the merch table. Buy our vinyl, put it in your junk drawer. It's going to be an amazing time.
Yeah,
come see us
for a couple of months, and you'll be fine. Yeah, no, like it's funny. You guys, like you said, you saw us right as we were starting to play shows after the COVID lull, and we instantly got sick. But it was super exciting at that time to be playing music again and being excited in front of people. And I think that's something that we've missed for the longest time. We did some touring across Canada last year, and some like dates here and there in the States. But I do think that just the being sidelined for the little bit that we were, it makes you appreciate just these moments that you get to share with people in a room and do something special. And yeah, we're excited to be able to do that again. And the fact that we've been doing this for over 15 years now, and people like you guys are, still like us and still remember us, it means a lot. So.
Well, that's the end of our program.
That's a closer right there.
Well, guys, it was awesome. Yeah. Awesome to meet you.
Tell Amy to follow us with all the things. And yeah, dude. And we hope to see you. And if we're ever in the same city, like I said, coffee, beer, whatever you want on us.
Yeah, yeah. Let us know, and it would be nice to catch up face to face, and not through the intertubes and stuff.
Yeah, and have some real mundane, wacky combos.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Love
We
it.
can talk more rocks,
And polo shirts.
rocks, polo shirts, and hurricanes. That's
Hurricanes is the most exciting thing we talked about.
Let's rush to the city, try to punch the lights out. And I'll check because we'll have to skip the makeout. There's nothing going wrong, there's nothing going down. On Ted Devash, we set the path, we're walking down again. There's nothing in your heart, and we've lost the fight again. There's nothing going wrong, there's nothing going down. I'd say we're strong, never made a sound. Our love was on the rock, day we let it out. Nothing going wrong, nothing going down. Our love was not dead, but I've lost the fight again. There's nothing in your heart, it's all we got, my friend. There's nothing going wrong, nothing going down. I'd say we're strong, never made a sound. Our love was on the rock, day we let it out. Nothing going wrong, nothing going down. I'd say we're strong, never made a sound. Our love was on the rocks, the day we let it out. Nothing going wrong, nothing going down.